They genuinely expect people to use this as if in a paranormal or supernatural encounter it'll be of any help. Oh my god, it's a demon. Wait, is it though? You know what? Let's consult the official guide. Maybe it's friendly.
Moments later.
Holy shit! Maybe it's not friendly. Where art thou? Kristeau, come back, I miss you. Come back, please start posting. Kristeau, when are you posting another video? Right now, actually. About 2 weeks ago, the Vatican decided to hold a press conference on dealing with and discerning supernatural phenomenon. Which, to be honest, is crazy because weren't y'all the same ones trying to convince people not to jump to conclusions about these sort of things and label them paranormal or supernatural because it's probably not real. But no, we're holding press conferences like the CIA and their alien nonsense. But I digress. First and foremost, the Vatican hasn't pulled this sort of stuff out of their ass since 1978. So, in a way, it's understandable that everybody and their pet worm are concerned, curious. But before we even get into the details of what was said, guys, hello? Why are we even giving the Vatican the time of day? We've already known about the existence about these kind of things. We don't need their confirmation. And if we're being objective, we don't gotta worry about demons because that place is full of them. Or did we forget what Pope Benedict looked like? Personally, I'm looking at this guide and announcement and thinking, you're expecting me to take advice on how to deal with demons from someone who looks like one? Okay.
You're joking.
So this press conference detailed updated church doctrines on supernatural phenomenon like demonic possession, angelic sightings, apparitions of the Virgin Mary, and so forth. The Dicastery, more like Dicastery, for the doctrine of faith, presented these findings in an official document, official publication that I did in fact sit down and read in all its entirety. From what I can tell, the Dicastery, which is literally just a division of the church which oversees the religious discipline of the entire Catholic Church, simply decided to update how these phenomena are going to be approached. Because simply put, in the age of the internet, it is extremely easy to lie, fabricate falsehoods, yada yada. This recent revision of the norms regarding the manner of proceeding in the discernment of presumed apparitions or revelations, or as I call it, bullshit or nah, is really just the church trying not to confuse itself with anything else it's already said in the past. Because it tends to do that quite a lot, if you can't tell. The church and their rules. I feel like if they could pass a rule on how many breaths you can take before it's unholy, they would. The document lists 6 conclusions for alleged supernatural phenomenon. They are as follows. Warning, I do not speak Latin well, and every time I try to learn, it feels like I am one mispronunciation away from ending up in the 6th circle of hell. So yeah. So the first one is called nihil obstat, and I'm just gonna take the exact words from the document. Without expressing any certainty about the supernatural authenticity of the phenomenon itself, many signs of the action of the Holy Spirit are acknowledged in the midst of a given spiritual experience, and no aspects that are particularly critical or risky have been detected, at least so far. It's them saying, I don't know. Do you know? Because I don't know.
Do you wear wigs?
No, I do not.
Have you worn wigs?
No, I have not.
Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs?
The second one is called Preoculus Habeatur. That is absolutely not it. But we're going with it. Although important positive signs are recognized, some aspects of confusion or potential risks are also perceived that require the diocesan bishop to engage in careful discernment and dialogue with the recipients of a given spiritual experience. Before we even continue, I would just like to add that they have not provided any examples for why certain conclusions could be reached at all. These are all hypotheticals, and even to someone as intelligent and clearly amazing as myself, I'm confused. Just a little bit, you know? Moving on to the third one, it's curator. While various or significant critical elements are noted, at the same time, the phenomenon has already spread widely, and there are verifiable spiritual fruits connected to it. In this situation, a ban that could upset the people of God is not recommended. However, the bishop is asked to not encourage this phenomenon. Using my critical thinking skills and my prefrontal cortex, let me give you an example, since they don't want to. Sometimes there are sightings of statues crying tears, sometimes of blood, sometimes of iron. I'm assuming this specific conclusion is geared towards more of those sort of things. Of course, could be wrong, but seeing as it's very open-ended, this is my hypothesis. The next one is called submandato. In this category, the critical issues are not connected to the phenomenon itself, which is rich in positive elements, but to a person, a family, or group of people who are misusing it. I understand what this one is. This is basically like using a miracle for fame, money, to exploit people. For instance, if you have like a statue and you say, praying to this statue will cure you of your illness, but you also have to offer like $500 as a prayer offering. It's trying to prevent people from using God and the supernatural in a way that will be unbeneficial to people. The creation of certain cults within the Catholic Church, this would be used specifically to denounce them, discredit them for their purported miracles. I am about to butcher the out of this name. Prohibitor a obstruator. While there are legitimate requests and some positive elements, the critical issues and risks associated with this phenomenon appear to be very serious. Therefore, to prevent further confusion that could erode the faith of people, the Dicastery asks the bishop to declare publicly that adherence to this phenomenon is not allowed. Wow, must be nice to just go up and be like, guys,
Nuh-uh.
what I'm gathering from this, even though there are some elements that say like, oh, it could be supernatural and it does have some verifiable information, either not everything is what it seems, so it might not be miraculous, it might just be another form of the supernatural, so demonic possession, spirits that are not actually holy, and so they're just gonna say, maybe don't worship that really creepy looking statue in the corner over there because it's probably not Jesus. The final one is called declaratio. Nope, we're starting that over. How do you even Latin, bro? Can you even Latin? The final one is called declaratio de non supernaturalitate. Okay, that pronunciation kind of ate. In this situation, the Dicastery authorizes the bishop to declare that the phenomenon is found not to be supernatural. The decision must be based off facts and evidence that are concrete and proven. And finally, they provided an example. For instance, if an alleged visionary admits to having lied, or if credible witnesses prove elements of proof that allow one to discover that the phenomenon was based on fabrication, erroneous intention, or mythomania. As a whole, however, they are basically stating that, as a rule now, neither the bishop, the conferences, the dicastery, nobody will be admitting or affirming if these phenomena are of supernatural origin or not. They're just wiping their hands from it. Nuh-uh. The only person with authorization to declare it as supernatural now would literally be the Pope. And since the Pope is kind of busy, I doubt that's going to happen. But yeah. You know, for me, I think the best part is that they genuinely expect people to use this as if in a paranormal or supernatural encounter it'll be of any help. Oh my god, it's a demon. Wait, is it though? You know what? Let's consult the official guide. Maybe it's friendly.
Moments later.
Holy shit! Maybe it's not friendly. This guide is something else. It is not applicable to the average person. Because, like, let's say something serious like a poltergeist or Mandela catalog type shit happens. By the time you've deliberated, you're dying, dead, or deceased. I'ma just stick to chugging my holy water. Y'all stay safe though. These new guidelines don't apply to anything that's already been declared supernatural in the past though. So, important to note. I feel like people can be very turned off by Christianity because some of its believers tend to shove it down non-believers' throats.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
But its mythology is extremely fascinating, especially pertaining to witchcraft and the existence of higher beings. So, like the Greater and Lesser Key of King Solomon, which details and illustrates how to create and form contracts with the demons and princes of hell. Or the apocalyptic Book of Enoch, which also details things that happened before the Great Flood, you know, with Noah's Ark, as well as the Nephilim and fallen angels. With this in mind, and since we've already come to our conclusions about that church document, let us shift the discussion to two miraculous apparitions deemed by the church as indeed supernatural. Oh, before that, guys, I have to yap to somebody about this. Please, have y'all seen that video of that angel in Siberia?
Не знаю, конечно, не описать. Это просто не рассказать, почему так. Что это такое? Ну там сейчас на вертолете прилетят все эти дела. И вот пока не приехали все эти товарищи, мы вот тут с ребятами вырвались. Ребята, это вообще трындец. Какие эмоции.
Basically, miners were digging in a pit in Siberia and found this large statue of a hooded angel. They don't know where it came from. They don't know how it could have gotten there because it's the middle of Siberia. They want to get it tested, age dated or whatever, but they don't have the resources right now. Middle of Siberia. What's it doing there? Anyway, I saw that and I immediately thought, that looks like a watcher. What is a watcher, you ask? Excellent question. Okay, so this is before the flood. Long ago, God sent 200 angels, also known as watchers, to watch over humanity and watch their growth. The watchers descended to earth during the days of Jared, so Enoch's father, which was also the sixth descendant from Adam. So you know Adam and Eve. So this is Old Testament, fairly new. Humanity is just coming around. Well, these angels decided to defy God and instead commit acts of sin as well as procreate with human women, leading to the creation of the race of giants called the Nephilim. They also gave humanity forbidden knowledge that, in time they would have learned. But when it was shoved on them all at once, it ended up corrupting humanity. Or so the book of Enoch says. I mean, everything was fixed with like the flood, right? Noah's Ark, Noah got saved, everybody else went bye-bye. My point being is, when God decided enough was enough, he punished these watchers by forcing them to essentially see all of their offspring die in the great flood. And then even though they begged him for mercy, he denied their pleas. And then on top of that, he bound them, chained them, and had the archangels put them in the deepest parts of hell, which is known as Tartarus. For eternity, they're supposed to be in slumber and dormant until Judgment Day. They're supposed to be in a pit in Tartarus until Judgment Day. Where did they find that statue? In a pit in Siberia. Where are the watchers that are fallen angels supposed to be? In a pit in Tartarus. What? Don't touch that thing. Leave it the fuck alone. Why are you going near it? Shall we take a look at it again? You're telling me you're getting no sense of foreboding from looking at that thing? Like, has nobody watched Doctor Who? Has nobody seen Doctor Who and the Weeping Angels? Guys, like, please, one of these days. Why
are you running? Why are you running?
You will not catch me doing any of that. Anyway, that's my TED Talk. If you ever want to learn more about the Book of Enoch and all that stuff, like, let me know. Let's move on to church-approved content. The first miracle that I want to talk about is the Our Lady of Fatima. The story begins in a small village in Fatima, Portugal on May 13th, 1917. Near this tiny village, there are 3 peasant children named Jacinta, Francisco, and Lucia, ages 9, 10, and 7. They are herding their sheep for their family, minding their own business, doing what they're usually doing, when a lady in all white, more beautiful than anything, was standing above a bush and appeared to them. This lady was said to be the Blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of God. From May to October 17th, on the 13th day of each month, this lady appeared over and over to the children. By the end of, this time period, news of this apparition had spread far and wide, that the Virgin Mary has kept coming and speaking to these children, and that the Virgin told them that God had sent her with a message for every man, woman, and child living in that century. She promised that God would grant earth peace if her requests for prayer, reparation, and consecration were heard and obeyed. A lot of people did believe at this point that the children did see the Virgin Mary, but others discounted their story because, they're children. They're like, oh yeah, you're probably hallucinating. Months pass, and of course, the last day that she is said to show to the children appears. It becomes known that the lady would appear for the last time to the children on October 13th, 1917. When that happened, thousands of pilgrims showed up in order to see. She had promised the children that there would be a sign to convince other people that she had indeed appeared on this earth. And because of that, everybody and their mom was like, okay, we're showing up. At the time, The region had been subjected to extreme torrential downpour. Didn't matter because almost 70,000 people showed up in order to catch a glimpse of the apparition of Mary. Many were scornful unbelievers whose sole intent was to discredit the children and their story. You know, haters will hate no matter which age, which century. However, to their dismay, and I quote, "Suddenly the clouds separated and the sun appeared between them in a clear blue like a disk of white fire. The people could suddenly look at the sun without needing to blink. The huge ball began to dance. This huge fireball whirled rapidly and dizzily, beating through the sky in many directions. Brilliant colors were reflected upon the crowd. And the ball continued to move and spin, etc., and then plunge in a direction literally towards the earth. So at this point, the crowd's like, we gonna die. But then the sun reversed its course exactly the way that it had been moving in complete reverse, and then everything went back to normal. It said all of this transpired within 10 minutes. And then, after realizing they're not gonna die, they're like, yeehaw, celebration time. That instance is now called the miracle of the sun. After this miracle happened that was witnessed by tens of thousands of people, they wanted to grill the children. They wanted to know, what else did she tell you? Like, this is the real deal. You have to tell us everything right now. It was revealed that during these months in which, the children saw Mary, each time she visited them, she had told them something like a prediction. Each of the children were given a secret. And so this secret actually consists of 3 parts. The first part of the secret was a frightening vision of hell, where the souls of poor sinners go. It contained an urgent plea from Mary to pray and repent in order to save souls. The second part of the secret specifically predicted the Second World War. It contained the prediction of immense danger. Finally, the last secret, flash forward years and years into the future after World War II, etc. The third secret still has not been revealed. And so the Pope himself goes to the last child, now a nun, Sister Lucia, and says, you need to tell me what the third secret is. Mary has predicted 2 of these other cataclysmic events. We need to know what's going on. Sister Lucia, she was like, no, I am not saying a word, okay? This is a secret, I'm not saying anything. And so she writes the secret down because she's not gonna speak about it. She seals it and she says, do not open this until, I think, 1960 something. And so eventually, yes, he opens it 1960 something, and it is a vision of immense suffering that would happen in the 21st century. I think it's very interesting because although it predicts that Christians will be tormented, executed, etc., as a whole, I don't think the prediction was very wrong, because look at the world right now. We're gonna get serious for a second. There are so many horrible things happening. There are genocides happening in Palestine and the Congo. Mary slapped again with that prediction because while it might not just be Christians, as a whole, humanity is currently suffering right now. There are 8 miracles that have been actually supported and acknowledged by the church, and this is one of them. The second one I want to talk about is called the Our Lady of Zeitoun miracle. It was a Marian apparition that began the 2nd of April 1968, and this was in Cairo, Egypt. The first apparition of Mary was recorded on the evening of April 2nd, 1968. The phenomenon was seen by 2 Muslim mechanics who claimed to witness a woman walking on top of the roof of St. Mary's Coptic Church. One of them thought that, it was a nun about to commit suicide by jumping off the church, and so they yelled, hey, don't jump, don't jump. The whole thing caused a giant fiasco. A crowd gathered. When the police eventually showed up, they tried to disperse the crowd, saying, don't worry about it, it's just a reflection of the light. But dozens of people had seen her. 1 week later, April 9th, the phenomenon occurred again, lasting only a few minutes. After that time, apparitions became more frequent, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, for literally several years, ending in 1971. According to Coptic tradition, this area, which Mary kept appearing in, is traditionally near where they stayed back in the day when, during the time of Jesus. This, by this point, was a really serious matter, actually. They were not gonna, let this slide. The patriarch of the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria, Pope Kyrillos, appointed a committee of high-ranking priests and bishops to investigate the matter. They used Coptic culture as well as actual science to try and get to the bottom of this. However, after much investigation, on March 4th, Pope Kyrillos issued an official statement confirming that the apparitions were, in fact, real. Soon afterwards, literally the Ministry of Tourism in Egypt also issued a validation of this as the appearances of Mary. There were so many apparitions and so many people seeing Mary that it got to the point where even the Egyptian government had no choice but to accept and acknowledge that, okay, it's Mary walking on top of the church, we just gotta accept it and move on. Investigation was lengthy and very detailed. They tried very hard to debunk this and say that it was false, but no device was found within a 15-mile radius capable of projecting an image of Mary. And many photos were taken during this period of the apparition, albeit blurry or not the best condition. Still, so many different people at different times were able to capture the image. They had no explanation logically other than, okay, that's Mary over there, she's chilling out on top of the church. It is what it is. This was like one of the rare moments where religious and political official came together and were like, okay, it is what it is. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this short video. I'll be back next week. Bye bye.